record this session so that others who have missed it are also able to understand it. Okay, so we are continuing our study of the basic concepts in chess, but basic concept, but still we are understanding it at a quite a good of depth. Okay, so it is very important. So today we are going to probably look at one of the most important moves in chess. Okay, which is check. Check means a direct attack against the king, right? Threat to the king, right? And uh, what is the rules of the chess game say? You cannot ignore the threat to the king. You can ignore the threat to any other piece of yours. You can allow it to be taken, but you cannot allow the king to be taken, right? So you have to respond to it. So this becomes a very, very forceful move. That's why check is a very forceful move, because it forces black, not black, but whichever is the defending king to or defending side to respond. Okay, and there are only three ways that, I mean, logical ways, three general ways in which you can respond to a check, right? And we call it as, okay, first we'll see some examples. This is the first quadrant here, right? This quadrant number 1 here at the lower left side here. Let me just zoom it out a little bit and come to the top. Yeah. So here the quadrant 1 here, if you see, the knight goes from d2 to b3 and checks the king, right? Because the knight has moved here and given a check, right? Similarly here the pawn has moved from b5 to b6 and given a check to the black king. So actually these are all compressed positions. I tried to show 4 different positions in a single diagram, so that's why you call it as 1, 2, 3, 4. I have given the quadrants, but each one of them imagine like a separate position. Okay, so these are just simple examples of a check. Okay, but now when you give a check, what happens? Black, not black means whichever is the king that is checked, right? He has to respond, and there are 3 ways only to defend against a check, and we call it as A, B, and C. Okay, it's very easy to remember. 3 A, B, C. What is the A? A is avoiding. Okay, what does avoiding means? You move the king away from the check. So if so, let us see in the next example here. Look at the quadrant. Yeah, this is the square. I mean, this is the diagram. Quadrant number 1 here, bottom left. Okay, what has happened? Black rook has checked the white king. Okay, now if white king moves away from, right now it is on a2, but if it moves to a1 or b1, then that is called as avoiding the check, because king is coming out of the check, stepping out of the check, right? So that is plan number A. Okay, second thing you can do is you can block the check, so that stands for B, blocking, right? In the same example, you can see the knight is there, white knight on c4. It can come to b2. Okay, block it, at least for the moment you can block it, right? Later on you can whether you are the opponent kills it or not, that's a different question, but at least in the next move, immediate move, you have a solution which is blocking, right? That is also a position. The last option, anyone can guess what is the third option? A, B, and C. Third point is how you can, is by capturing the checking piece. So whichever was the checking piece, if it is possible for you to capture and it makes sense, you may want to capture it, right? And that is also a way, not always possible, but sometimes it is possible. Theoretically, it is possible. So in this particular quadrant 1 here, you can see the knight on c4 can actually kill the rook on d2, which is giving a check. So that way also you can eliminate the check. So eliminate the check using moving the king out of the check. Okay, blocking it by something, either a pawn or a piece or something. That is the second way of avoiding a check. Hey, hi Venkatesh, we have just started. So we are looking
Yes,
at
sir.
checks. Okay, checks, and we are also going to look at checkmate. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, cool. I think Ramnath is also joining, so good. What about Nakshatra? Nakshatra is not joining today, Pratiksha?
Sir, her exam is going on, sir, so she's not joining.
Okay. Fine. So what we were looking at is checks we had looked at, and then how to protect from check, there are only three ways. A, avoiding by moving the king out of the check. B, by blocking it, and C, by capturing the checking piece, right? These are the only three ways, but obviously in every position, these are the motives, but with which you can do it. So let us look at the second quadrant here in this square, right? In this chessboard, second quadrant means left on the top here, those 4x4 things, right here. So you see here, black king is on b7. It is given a check by the bishop on d5, right? Now let us see if the king can go to c8 or it can go to a6. The arrows are shown, thick arrows. Those moves are possible for the black king, and if black king were to make those moves, it would have been called avoiding the check, right? By stepping away from the check. Okay. What are the other possible moves to prevent? There is a one way of blocking. The bishop on d7 can come to c6 and block the check, right? That is also possible. So that is the second method of blocking. What is the third method? Capture. So the black rook can capture the white bishop on d5, and then obviously the check will be gone because the checking is done by bishop, which is killed, right? So this is the third way, right? So like this, there are more examples I've shown here everywhere. So you can use this to understand that what is possible in every time. So you have to get into your head that whenever there is a check, there are generally three possibilities. Generally, okay. In every position, it may not be possible, but in general, these are the possibilities that you have to look for: avoiding, blocking, or capturing the checking piece. Right? Okay. All right. Now, what is now? Can you tell me? I said generally there are three ways, but can you tell me how many ways there are to protect a king from a check if the checking is done by a knight and not by a bishop, rook, or a queen? If the knight does it, knight gives a check. How many ways do you have of the ones that I described? Sorry,
Oh,
three ways, four ways, or two ways, or what? How many ways?
good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. Okay, let me go back and ask. Avoiding the king, avoiding the check, is it possible when it's a knight check? Yes, it is possible. You can always move up. What about blocking? Is it blocking possible for a knight check?
Sir, sometimes it is no and sometimes it is yes.
No, it is never possible. How do you block a knight check? There is nothing you can insert in between.
No, sir, it moves in L while another
Knight jumps over it and it attack also jumps. So there is no way to block the knight check. Okay. So, but there is a way that you can capture the knight. That is a possibility. So remember, for all other pieces, there are three ways of getting out of the check. But if the knight is the attacker, then you have only two ways: avoiding and capture. Right? There is nothing to block in a knight check. Okay, very important thing to remember. All right. Fine. Now that we know what is a check and what uh, what are the ways in which you can come out of the check, now let us next understand what is a checkmate. Right? Checkmate is a condition where king is. Let me get this away. Yeah, king. Currently, there is a king. So if none of the three ways of getting out of the check are possible, then your king is said to be checkmated, and you lose the game. Okay. So you lose the game. Actually, let me stop my video. Sometimes it becomes distracting or it takes away bandwidth. So let me pin. Yep. Okay. And let me get my chat window also. Yeah. So now, so when both these things are not possible, so the king is also there in check, and there are no ways that you can come out of the check by avoiding, blocking, or capturing the checking piece. Then what it means is that the next move your king is going to get a kill, and that is why the logically the chess game, the rules of the chess say that that is where the game ends, and If that is your king which is not able to defend, then you have lost the game. Whoever's king it is lost the game. Okay, no more possible. You don't play further
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Okay. Sir,
Yeah.
if the rooks weren't there, king could have avoided the checkmate if the rooks weren't there.
So that is there. So all of those is possible, but generally, I'm just trying to illustrate when is a checkmate and when it is not a checkmate. Okay. So now we'll see some examples. Again, as I give these compressed diagrams, right? I like it because I can show 4 positions like this in a single. You can see this one here. There are 4 quadrants named 1, 2, 3, 4. So look at the first quadrant, right? The white king, there is a proximity check given by the queen. So these are all examples of a queen checkmate. Queen is giving the check and it's a mate. Okay. See, white king does not have anywhere to go because it's a proximity check. What is a proximity check? There is no distance between the checking piece and the king. Okay. So that is what is a proximity check. In proximity check, what is not possible? Blocking is not possible because there is nothing, no square in between to block, right? So just like a knight check, proximity check forces you either you capture my checking piece or you move the king. There is no other option. Okay. So in the first quadrant here, queen, it is a proximity check and mate by the black queen. Okay. If you look at the second example there, then white queen and white rook together have squeezed the black king onto the edge of the chessboard, and now the white queen has given a check, and it's a check, right? So similarly, there are 2 more examples, number 3 here and number 4 also, where I'm just showing you there are so many ways of checkmating, but at least looking at a few of them, your eyes will get trained. Oh, this is the way it happens, right? Checkmate happens. So number 3 is called as the back rank mate because the king has castled and it is on the last rank, but there is nothing to defend. So either a rook or a queen can land there and deliver a checkmate. Happens sometimes in your games also. And then number 4 is it's not a back rank checkmate, but it's a column checkmate, we call it. There is nothing that can come between the queen and the king. King does not have any place to go. So avoiding is not possible, blocking is not possible, and capture is also not possible. So it becomes checkmate. Okay. So these are some examples I have given of queen checkmate. And if you continue, I have given examples of rook checkmates, knight checkmates, and bishop checkmates. Everywhere I have given 4 examples. So total, just after this class is over, this is the handout is there. I've already sent it. So please look at each of these positions separately. Put it on the chessboard and understand why it is a checkmate. Okay, because you will be able to see it if you logically try to play for the side which is weaker and try to see whether it has any moves. You will find that it is not having any moves and it is in check. So that is why it is a checkmate in each of these. So I have given 4 queen positions, 4 rook positions, 4 knight positions, 4 bishop positions. Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Over there, the rooks, the bishops, in the bishop checkmate, both are on the white square. How is that possible?
Wait. Let me show you. It is not. See, each of this position, there are 4 different positions. Okay. So it is not the same position there. So assume that these are 4 different positions. So if you are looking at this one here, bishop checkmates, which one? Quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one are you referring to?
3.
3. Yeah. Okay. So 3. I have not shown the king here because king is not part of it. White king, I have not shown it, but I've just shown where the black king is and the white knight and the bishop. They can very well stand like this, right? They have managed to checkmate the black king. Okay, probably knight moved in first, forced the black king to come to h8, and then the bishop came to e5, and it has given a checkmate. So how did this happen, etc.? I am not showing that because those are all different, but I'm just showing you the final positions in which checkmate can happen. Obviously, these moves can be made, and then it can happen. Okay.
Yes. Okay, sir. Sir, I also have another question in 1.
Okay.
So over there, how both the bishops are standing on the white square.
No.
Black
No.
bishops.
One is ending. The position one here is ending in that 4 by 4 smaller square. After that, the second bishop is not belonging to position one. It is belonging to position 3. Can you see? It is across the border. See,
Yes, sir.
these are just ways of for me to. I don't want to, instead of giving 4 different diagrams, which would have taken a full so much space on my handout. I am just giving you. It is like zipping. You zip the files, right, to make it smaller. So this is like zipping the diagrams. I have zipped four diagrams. I have somehow combined them into just one diagram. So just imagine that there are 4 different positions all together. Okay, so they don't mix. Don't mix them. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So any questions on this checkmates? There is one beautiful checkmate that you should remember. In the knight checkmates, look at the number 4 position. Knight position number 4 here. Okay. Number 4 here. Knight is giving a checkmate. There is nothing else. The knight is not taking help from anybody else and just giving a checkmate. Okay. This is possible for the knight only. And the king is already blocked by its own sides. Like black king is blocked by its own soldiers and a rook. Okay, they are not allowing. It is in a corner. So anyway, now if the knight lands there, then this is called as smothered mate. What is smothering means? Suffocating, right? So here what essentially saying is black is suffocated by its own people or by its own army, and now white is just coming with a single knight and checking and checkmating the black king. Okay, so we will see some more examples of this when we go, but this is a beautiful example of smothered mate. Okay.
So if the rook was on the side
Yeah, if the rook
square
was
where the knight is standing, that could have been harder for the knight to checkmate.
yes, then it would have not been possible. But now the rook is not on f8; it is on g8, so it is possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you need to do, right? And okay, now you will have to. This is your homework for you for today. Okay. So each diagram there are four questions. In each question, what you have to record, you know the chess notation, right? King to g3, knight to f6, etc. How to write it. For each of these diagram, there are 4 sub diagrams, 1, 2, 3, 4. In each of them, you have to record all possible moves by the king. Possible moves. So king is where all the king can make a move. Okay, so remember the logical laws of the chess means that king cannot enter voluntarily into a check, right? So I'll just give an example what I mean. Diagram number 1 here, right? Diagram number 1 here. Sub diagram number 1, quadrant 1. Okay, white king is on c2, white knight is on c1, and then there are black knight on b1, b2. There is a bishop on c3. There is a pawn on a4. The pawn is coming down, so it is attacking the b3 square. So how many moves by king? How many moves by king? Not just by any white piece, but by king. So king, can he take the bishop? He cannot, because the knight is supporting it. Can he take the b2 knight? No, he cannot take the b2 knight because the bishop is supporting it. Okay. Can he go to b3? No, he cannot, because the black pawn on a4 is attacking the b3 square and white cannot enter the check.
Sir, but he can attack the knight down.
On b1, yes, you are
One
right.
move.
On b1,
Sir.
the white king can kill the knight on b1. That is one move. Okay. Can he kill his own knight on c1?
No,
No, because you
no,
cannot
sir.
kill your own, right? So c1 is not possible. What about d1, king to d1? No, king to d1 is not possible because the knight on b2 is attacking that square and you cannot go into a check.
Sir, only 2 moves are possible.
There is only 2 moves are possible. One is king to b1, king takes the knight on b1, or king goes to d3. No, d3 is also not possible because black knight, other knight is preventing it. So king has got only one
Sir,
move.
one move. One
Yeah,
move is possible.
exactly.
Sir, only one move.
Yes, you are right. Absolutely right. Only one move, right? So how we eliminated, we looked at all the possibilities and every possibility, then we said whether it is allowed and it's a legal move or not. And finally, we were left with only one move, king to b1, right? So just as we did it, you please do it for all the other positions. Okay, this is in the diagram 1 where we are just looking at what are the possible moves for the white king. Okay.
Yeah, sir. Sir, in diagram 3, I know a very good move. We can just take out the rook.
Diagram diagram number 2, that is right. Diagram
Yeah.
number 2. Yes, we can take out the rook. Okay. Yes, you are right. But you have to list out all the possible moves, not just one move or the best move. Just list out all the possible valid moves for the king. Okay. Remember, it is for the diagram 1 is for the king. Okay. Now when we come to the next one here, the we have shown 4 positions where the king is in check, and you have to find out all the possible ways to avoid the check. Okay, which means that it may involve, I mean not avoid, protect from the check, which means it may involve avoiding by moving the king, or it may involve blocking, and blocking can be done in several ways. That is also possible, or it can be that you kill the attacking piece. Okay, so each of the 4 positions you try to give all the possible moves. Try to write them down so that you will get good at it. You will become very good at it. What are all the possible ways of defending you? Right? Similarly, again there are 4 more positions that is given here. Again for practice, list out all the moves to protect the king in each quadrant from a check. Right? You can just look at it. How you can protect the king. Fine. So these if you do it, you'll get a very good idea. Now let us do some very quick small this ones. Let us check. So in this example here, in this diagram which is highlighted, can you see there is a very good move for white. White to play, and he can checkmate. Can you see it?
Yes, sir. Sir, even if the king tries to kill any rook, the other rook is supporting it.
Yeah, that is in the previous position. But now, can you see the highlighted diagram now? I have highlighted. It's a mate in 1. White is to play and mate in 1. Come on, tell me.
Sir, I got it.
Ah,
We need to move it to c7 to give it a proper checkmate.
F7. It is C. It is not C7. It is F7. But you are right. White king moves to F7, kills the pawn, and it has got a support of the bishop. So black king cannot kill it, and it's a proximity check and a checkmate. Queen to F7 checkmate in this position. Okay. All right. Now let us look at this position. White to play the next square here, which is highlighted. There are
Yes, sir,
two
sir.
rooks.
Sir, over here. I was telling about to here. Sir, the answer over here is c7.
No, it is not C7. The answer is there are 2 ways.
Sir, it is f8.
Sir, it is
Rook,
Sir,
A7.
it is f8.
rook
Sir, it
F8,
is F8.
or
Sir, it is f8.
correct. So let me see. There
Sir,
are 2 answers.
F8 or A8.
Exactly. Either you can move the rook from F7 to F8 and it's a checkmate, or you can move the rook from A7 to A8. That is also a checkmate. Either of the rook moves to the check, and the other rook prevents it from coming out, and it's a checkmate. Right? Brilliant. You got it. Both the things you got it. Excellent. So now let us.
Sir, even if we do c7 also, it's a check, right?
No, it is a check, but it's not a checkmate. What we are looking for is a checkmate in 1 move. Okay. Rook to c7 is simply a check. After that, the black king can move to either b8 or it can move to d8. Any of the 2 moves it can move. right? So that's why it is not a checkmate. It is simple a check, but black has got defenses. But if you play rook a8 or rook f8, then it's an instant checkmate for the black king. Okay. All right. Now there is one more position that I have shown.
So this is quite challenging.
This is a quite challenging, but it is still relatively simple if you see it. Okay, white to play and deliver checkmate in one move. I'll just wait for a minute to see whether you can think of the moves. I will give you a hint. White queen is in front of the black king, but there is a pawn in between. So it has got to do with the pin and it has got to do with something. But that is what is the move. But no.
So sir, may you repeat the hint?
No, it has got to the checkmate has got to do with the white queen and the black king being on the same column, right, or same file as we call it. So there is a special things are possible. Okay, I will tell the move if you're not getting it. Knight on e4 jumps to d6. Knight e4 to d6 check, and it's a knight check. So can you check with what are the ways in which black can protect? Avoiding, not possible, because black king has got no empty square around him. Everything is occupied. So black king cannot move.
But sir, the pawn can capture it.
But if the pawn can capture it, but if it makes a move to capture it, it will result in putting its own king in check. Can you see the queen, white queen on
Sir, the
e3?
queen is there to attack it then.
To attack the king. So that is why the pawn on e7 becomes pinned as soon as the knight moves. Knight on e4 moves, then it is the black pawn is pinned. So white takes advantage of this and moves the knight from e4 to d6. So now the pawn also cannot capture, king cannot move. There is no other way. There is no other way that you can capture the knight, and it becomes a checkmate.
Even if a lot of black army is there.
Yeah, I mean practically black's entire army except one soldier, one pawn has got exchanged. Otherwise everything is there. But within some 8-9 moves, black has got checkmated, right? So it may happen. So so you have to be on the lookout. Okay, so this is a good idea for you to look out. Okay, so now what I do is, as further homework, I have given a few more positions, right? So this is a position again. You have to find out a checkmate in one move. You can try doing it now, or you can do it later at your home also. I mean, at your leisure. But I will just take this one, number 4, this position which is highlighted. It's a very simple and interesting. It's a one move checkmate. Can you see? Can anybody see?
Sir, bishop to e3.
Beautiful, beautiful. Bishop to e3 is a checkmate. Why it is a checkmate? Let us look at it. Can the king avoid the check? For avoiding, it has to be able to move it. King cannot move to a6 because its own pawn is there. King cannot go to b6 because it will remain in check. King cannot go to b7 or a8 because white bishop is threatening it, so it cannot go into check, and black king cannot go to b8 because its own knight is there. So king cannot move anywhere. We have eliminated option A, avoiding. What about option B, blocking? Is there a way to block it? Oh, there was one way, but unfortunately that pawn is pinned. The pawn on c7 could have come to c5, making a 2-square move and blocked the check. But that pawn also cannot move because there is a white rook on f7, pinning that pawn against the white king on a7, right? So that pawn otherwise would have been able to block it, but now it also cannot move and it cannot block. There is nothing else which can come between the bishop on e3 and the black king on a7. Right? No other move of blocking is possible. So A and B we have eliminated. Capturing. Now, is there any way that you can capture the bishop on e2? Not right now. It will take some time and whatever it is for him.
Sir, on E3, I'm very, sir, if we move it on E3, can the king, the king can move to A8.
But A8 is also attacked by the white bishop on D5. Can you see it? D5, C6, B7, A8.
Yes, sir.
Right? So it's a checkmate here also. Right? Okay. So I think we have seen some examples. There are two more examples position where you can just see how checkmate can happen or it has happened. So these are for you to study. So with this we conclude our this week's study material. But do watch the videos that I have sent, where in all these positions I discuss it with my students previously in the previous class. Plus also do this homework that I told you about. Okay. So like in each of the position, identify the king moves or list all the moves to protect from check, etc. So you do it, you will become very good at it. You will become very fast at it. Okay. Fine. Okay. So,
Sir,
yeah. Arena, yes. Go ahead.
sir,
Yeah.
sir, on chess king leg, how can we access the homework? Where is it?
Okay. Very.
Can't
I
find
will
it.
show it to you. See, very simple. You go to king, you go to courses. So this is where you log in, right? Learn.chessking.com. Right? This is where you go. You log in with your ID. Now I have logged in with some ID and it is there. Now if you go to what are the things you filter out? Beginner. So difficulty level you click on the beginner. Right? So there are only 10 courses will be displayed, and out of that there are only 2 courses that I have asked. One is capture pieces 1. Go to preview. Okay, don't go to purchase. Just go to preview, and whatever that you see here expanded part 1 and part 2. Within part 1, whatever does not have the lock symbol, right, you do it. Lock symbol is there where you will have to pay for it, but you don't need to. This many are enough. So do the volume 2. Then here everywhere wherever the green thing that you see without any lock symbol, that is enabled for you. You do that. Okay, and that much is enough. Or capture pieces 1. There are some 250 plus puzzles that are freely accessible. 272 probably, which is what you can do it. The other thing that you can do it is mate in 1. Okay, these are all excellent positions for training. Where again we go to beginner. Difficulty level is beginner. Okay, and we select course mate in 1. Okay, can you see this? Mate in 1. Again you do
Yes.
preview.
Yeah.
Now what I have done is for all of you, I have enabled this course. Though you do a preview, actually all the 2,400 problems are accessible to you. Okay, all of them are accessible to you. So you will also be able to do this. So start with in each of this section. Start with the few figured positions, then go to many figured positions, then go to complicated positions, and then go to any piece checkmates. But keep doing in each section. Try to do some 15-20 of them or whatever is available. If there are less available, then less you do it. But if there are more available, then try to do it at least 10 to 15 in each of these lines. Okay, rook checkmates, few figured, queen checkmates, few figured, pawn checkmates, few figured. Okay, then you go to many figured, because many figured means more complicated. Lot of pieces are there. Okay. So, and if you click anywhere, okay, let us go to many figured position, pawn checkmates. You will get position like this. They will tell you your turn black. Okay, you are playing black and you have a 1 move, mate in 1. So obviously, let us look at this very quickly. What has got black to checkmate? Yeah, if you put this pawn here, then it's a checkmate. Right? Play again. See, can you see? This pawn is coming here, giving a check. The support is there of the queen. You cannot capture the pawn. Rest of all the squares, there is a rook which is blocking it. There is a bishop which is blocking it. There is a queen which is also blocking it. So king cannot move. There is a proximity check. So there is no way you can block it, and you cannot kill the pawn also. So it becomes a checkmate, right? So this was the answer for it. But similarly, after you do it, then you go next. See, this is the way to go next. Okay, or there itself, if you do it, then it will ask you done. Next task. If you click next task, then it will automatically show you the next position. Okay, here again,
Yes,
want to
sir.
see what is the
Yes, sir.
solution?
I opened it.
Yeah.
Sir, I opened it. What you said.
Okay. All right. So that is what it is. Okay. All right.
Sir, what time do we have arena today?
7 p.m. 7 p.m. I will set it and I will share the link. All of you, please join. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. I'm going to now